Project Summary, CPAR Phase 1. Did we achieve our goals? Yes. Project Overview. Autistics and the parents, caregivers of autistics need to be part of autism research teams. This helps make sure research focuses on what matters to the autistic community and what truly improves health and quality of life. There are many barriers to participation, especially in a rural state like Vermont. Some of those barriers include a housing shortage, transportation issues, and a lack of healthcare access and support personnel. Community members have little time and energy left to engage as partners in research. There's also mistrust between autistics and non-autistics, especially in the healthcare and research world. People use different words to talk about autism. In this project, we say autistics, autistic person, and person on the autism spectrum. Many people prefer these words. Goals. We designed this project together as a group of autistic and non-autistic partners to achieve the following goals. Build trust with the Vermont autism community. Learn how to engage more autistic adults and parents, caregivers, as research partners in a sustainable manner. Did we achieve our goals? Yes. 17 autistic adults and 16 non-autistic caregivers joined us for this project. Interested as future research partners? On a scale of 1 to 5, most autistics and non-autistic caregivers responded being 4 somewhat or 5 very much interested in joining us as autism research partners at the end of our project. Feeling understood? 94%. On a scale of 1 to 5, most autistics reported 4 somewhat or 5 very much feeling understood throughout the project. Feeling respected? 100%. On a scale of 1 to 5, all autistics reported 4 somewhat or 5 very much feeling respected throughout the project. Participant satisfaction. Autistics. On a scale of 1 to 5, 88% of autistics responded being 4 somewhat or 5 very much satisfied with their participation in the project. Participant satisfaction, non-autistic caregivers. On a scale of 1 to 5, 100% of non-autistic caregivers responded being 4 somewhat or 5 very much satisfied with participation in the project. Key messages. Many autistic and non-autistic community members prefer to engage with autism researchers when the group culture is inclusive and accepting. The autistic viewpoint is prioritized and understood. Accessible practices are used, and the research makes a difference in autistic lives. The group culture is inclusive and accepting. This includes use group norms and a facilitator. Welcome different perspectives and preferences. Make time to hear and treat everyone equally. Recognize autism as only one aspect of a person's identity. Use small groups with similar identities and mixed work groups. The autistic viewpoint is prioritized and understood. Recognize autism as different for each person. Accept self-diagnosis. Believe autistics. Some struggles cannot be seen. Non-autistics want to learn about autism from autistics. Include the perspective of minimally speaking autistics. Accessible practices are used. provide options for participation, provide support and accommodations, use plain language or glossary and clear summaries, provide access to information in many formats, pay research partners fairly. The research makes a difference in autistic lives. Focus on real-life impact. Share practices informed by autistics. Support autistics as research partners. Do nothing about us without us. Support for key messages. The group culture is inclusive and accepting. Autistics are also parents and caregivers. Among 17 autistic participants, 5 were parents of autistic children. We discussed autistics and parents' caregivers' needs for joining research partners. Wording our prompts this way implied a separation between both roles. Allow people to choose which group they want to represent. Use language like autistic and non-autistic parents and doctors. Quote, there are autistic doctors, autistic parents, autistic researchers, but phrasing the prompt or defining the group as this is here makes it seem like autistics are separate rather than a part of a diverse humanity. Read the Zoom chat in a timely manner. All autistics and 86% non-autistic parents caregivers said that the chat option on Zoom was a helpful tool. Making time to hear and treat everybody equally, including those communicating in the chat, is important. Use language respecting gender diversity. There is more gender diversity in our autistic community compared to non-autistic parents and caregivers. Using gender-neutral pronouns when we are not sure helps to respect the different autistic experiences. Quote, I was feeling a little uncomfortable by a participant who kept defining traits as male or female. There are several people in these studies that are trans or non-binary, and I would have appreciated someone other than me mentioning that the claim of standard male or female traits in autistics is what made it more difficult for many people to get help. I also tried to ask for people to move away from you guys, but even after my explanation, it was used several times again. Use group norms in a facilitator. Quotes, facilitators acknowledging the possible tensions, normalizing them, holding space for them, makes me feel safe. Defense of identity in a space by the facilitators would make me feel like I have to defend myself less, be less guarded in general. Welcome different perspectives and preferences. Quote, people need to, when somebody says something, be willing to listen and not react badly about it. Use small groups with similar identities and mixed work groups. Quote, I think sometimes though, just having people on the autism spectrum or autistic is good because I've noticed sometimes, and I've also gotten feedback, we can't talk freely in front of parents. The autistic viewpoint is prioritized and understood. Learning from autistics. How much did you learn during the project? On a scale of 1 to 5, all non-autistic participants learned something or learned a lot. Quote, I think it's an exciting thing to see how other people are experiencing autism in their life and how that might help me in my views in my learning process to help my son. When asked what was surprising in the results, that non-autistics want to learn from autistic people. Accepting self-diagnosis. 5 of the 17 autistic participants said they were self-diagnosed autistics. They were also all parents of autistic children. Quotes, "It was explicit that self-diagnosed autistics are welcomed here. Diagnosis is a privilege not available to a lot of autistics. Believe autistics, some struggles cannot be seen." Quote, "It's difficult to get across that I'm disabled because I think a lot of people expect a lot of abilities from me when they see me, and they get confused. If I don't meet those or I do something really perfectly, and then they just assume I can do everything really perfectly, but I have a lot of limitations." Accessible practices are used. Support requested. Many autistics and non-autistic caregivers asked for support for participating in Zoom meetings. Support requested, quote, "Restate stuff in plain English." Anyone can be a researcher or research team member, but you gotta have that material or materials to actually do the job and actually present it with other researchers too as well. Because researchers are one big team, and without, accessibility components to do the work on that team, everything get lost in the mix. So it's about accessibility information. Disability is a part of humanity. Both groups, autistics and non-autistics, included people with intellectual disability and who used augmentative alternative communication. One autistic person used AAC and also reported an intellectual disability. Some participants have vision impairments or harder of hearing. Some disabilities are invisible. Some people did not disclose their disability. Using principles of universal design with multiple options for participation supports everybody. How accessible was the focus group for you? On a scale of 1 to 5, 100% of autistics selected 4, somewhat, or 5, very much. How accessible was the last meeting for you? On a scale of 1 to 5, 69% of autistics selected 4, somewhat, or 5, very much. 25% selected 2, not really, or 3, neutral. Comfortable meeting size. More autistics are comfortable in groups of 1 to 5 or 6 to 10 persons. More non-autistic caregivers are comfortable in groups of 6 to 10 or 11 to 20 persons. Device used to join on Zoom. In Vermont, some people use landlines to connect and participate in virtual events. The research makes a difference in autistic lives. Research priorities shared by our project participants: medical, features of autism, vocational, therapeutic interventions, systemic implications of autism, real-world impact. Medical, autism and long COVID, causes of autism, autism in families and a potential genetic link, how the autistic brain works, gut and diet health for autistics, imaging studies of the brain, medical cause for sensory sensitivities, how autism is diagnosed, autistic people in alternative medicine, features of autism, differences in autism across the population, burnout masking, code switching, etc. Autism in non-cis white male children, specifically including women, non-binary, LGBTQ, adults, and people of color. Topics around adult autism, including challenges in and transitioning to adulthood, specific features of autism, autism and mental health, autistic social interactions in dating and relationships, vocational, barriers to employment, employment supports, barriers to getting more autistics in the medical, research, and social service fields. Therapeutic interventions, helpful medication, ABA, applied behavioral analysis, for adults, longitudinal study of outcomes and trauma from ABA, alternatives to ABA. ABA being accepting of facilitated communications, early intervention, provide tools to help autistics with limited verbal skills communicate effectively. Systemic implications of autism, poverty impact on healthcare of autistics, impact of how autistics are treated based on characteristics like race or poverty. Examine underrepresented autistic populations. Rethink exclusion criteria for participation in a study so people with a range of abilities and skill level can be included. Real-world impact. What kind of accommodations help autistics involved in the research? How to be part of a better environment, parenting and autism. More research relevant to lived, real-life experience and struggles. Learn new things about autism and connect it to the autistic experience. Research things that make our lives easier. Ways to give sensory feedback to providers. Helping the world understand us as much as we are forced to understand them. Sensory acceptance rather than fixing. Learn what our talents are and how our extrasensory skills help the world rather than just annoy neurotypical people. Lessons learned. Lesson 1. Autistics have multiple other identities. Allow people to choose which group they want to represent. Use language like autistic and non-autistic parents and doctors. Lesson 2. Non-autistic research partners may also have a disability and need accommodations. Using principles of universal design with multiple options for participation supports everybody. Lesson 3. Many people prefer closed captions by a person. They are more accessible than those generated automatically by Zoom. This is especially important for participants who are deaf or hard of hearing. Lesson 4. Smaller group size, 5 to 10, is more comfortable and accessible. Provide the size of the group in advance. Let people know in advance if breakout rooms will be used. Allow time for people to meet with others with similar experiences so they can share more candidly. Lesson 5. How visual information is presented is important. Some people use regular phones and many use smartphones to join a Zoom meeting in Vermont. Provide printed materials in advance if information will be shared on the screen during meetings. Provide a PDF version of the material so it is easy to zoom in for people with visual impairments. Make sure website material is accessible to screen readers and add alt text to pictures. Lesson 6. Language is very important. Autistic people use both identity-first language or person-first language. Choose language that is not medical. Consider using condition instead of disorder. Use person with autism or person on the spectrum instead of person with autism spectrum disorder. Plain language does not mean to dumb it down. Use simple, common language to give the same information. Plain language is not the same as easy read language. Training on plain language is available. Some people with disability are expert on plain language and can be hired to help with language. Accessibility requires access to information. Provide options for accessing different levels of information. Making pronouns optional. Using someone's preferred pronouns or using gender-neutral pronouns when unsure is important. There are many different gender identities in the autism community, and respecting everybody is important. Lesson 7. It's easy to skip breaks during Zoom meetings. People need breaks. Include breaks in the agenda and on slides. How did we do it? Working together. We planned all aspects together with many different perspectives. We paid careful attention to language to respect different people's needs and perspectives. We learned from each other and we adjusted from our mistakes. Providing support. Support needs and preferences were assessed before the meetings to plan ahead. We used participants' preferred mode of communication: email, text, phone, and communication supporter. Meeting agenda and questions were sent in advance. Training and information were shared in many formats: written online, videos, paper. Giving options for participation. All ways of participating were welcomed: camera on, off, chat, speak up or listen in, share more thoughts after the meetings. Questionnaires were provided when people could not join a meeting. Being welcoming. We provided small group opportunities for autistics with similar experiences. We asked people what they cared about. We strived to create a safe space and welcoming culture. We provided training modules on ableism, group participation, and patient-centered outcome research. Method. Type of project. For this project, we used a convergent parallel mixed method. This means we collected data from what people said in focus groups or wrote in follow-up questionnaires. At the same time, we collected survey information like the number of people who wanted closed captions. We mixed these sources of data and analyzed if they meant similar or different things about how people preferred to engage as research partners. We also used the participatory action research design. This means that a diverse team, autistics and non-autistics, caregivers, clinicians, researchers, and representatives from local organizations, designed all aspects of the project together. Finally, the project was based on critical disability theory. This is when we want to specifically hear from people who are less often heard in society. For this project, we prioritized the perspectives of autistics. Recruitment. We wanted to talk to at least 15 autistic adults and 15 caregivers of autistics. 41 persons were interested in joining the focus groups. 33 persons joined the project, with only one person not completing the project. See the image on the next slide for the recruitment process. 41 participants recruited through newsletter, community partners, social media, and Vermont Front Porch Forum. 3 did not complete the registration process. 5 did not attend the focus group and did not complete the questionnaire. So a total of 33 joined the first focus group. 1 discontinued participation after the first focus group. Questionnaires. The questionnaires were designed with input from the whole team and our community consultants. Demographics, project tools and support, focus group and data walk questions, satisfaction survey after the focus group, final satisfaction survey after the data walk. The focus group questions were carefully crafted with input from our whole team, including community consultants. Focus groups were conducted on Zoom. We organized 3 small focus groups for autistics. There were 5 to 6 people in each group. Autistics who also disclosed having an intellectual disability or using augmentative alternative communication, AAC, 6. autistic parents of a child on the autism spectrum, 5. Autistics, 6. We organized one large focus group for non-autistic caregivers. There were 16 people in this group. Click here to find the agenda and questions asked during the focus groups. Following the above link will take you to a web page and away from this presentation. Data walk. We shared the results through a larger Zoom meeting called a data walk or a data walk. Click here to find the agenda and questions asked during the data walk. Learn more about data walks in general with this article. Following the above links will take you to a web page and away from this presentation. Method, analysis of the data. In small groups, our team read the transcripts of the Zoom meetings and identified the main messages from each focus group. Then we asked the group participant if the main messages accurately represented what was said in their focus groups. We used the feedback to improve the main messages. Our team combined similar main messages from all groups and presented them to all participants at the data walk and through an optional questionnaire. We used the feedback to further improve the main messages. Finally, we looked at all the questionnaires and survey data and looked for similarities and differences between the key messages that were shared. Analysis of the data. We reflected on all that we learned from the project more generally. We identified what we would do the same and what we would change in the future as we engage with potential research partners. Our team, the UVM Autism Collaborative, the University of Vermont Center on Disability Community Inclusion, the Vermont Family Network, Green Mountain Self-Advocates. This project was funded through a Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute, PCORI, Eugene, Washington, PCORI Engagement Award, EACB number 24096. For more information, contact the project leader, Dr. Liliane Savard, at liliane.savard@uvm.edu. Thank you.